Though.
Jen. Hey.
Hey.
First of all, so nice to meet you guys. Thank you for coming. I feel like I've said this before, but like I met Emma, I auditioned for her thesis film, Shiva Baby, short film version. And she literally was so, I did a lot of student films, like a lot. And there's some incredible footage out there of me looking out a window, smoking so many cigarettes, coughing, throwing up. And like, you know, you're doing student films, we're all students, we're figuring it out. And a lot of times people came in without really like a vision or something like that. And from the second I met Emma, when I auditioned, she had such a vision for what she wanted to do. I remember it was like, I do the first read and she like comes over to me and like whispers kind of in my ear and you're like, now do it, but you have the power. Okay, now he has the power. Okay, and I was like, oh, okay. Like I've never been meanwhile I'm like in drama school where they're like, do it louder. Like, you know, so I think I just do it now I am gonna do it louder. And basically Emma just like had an idea for what she wanted, and it really like moved me and was so exciting to meet someone with a vision.
And then I think Rachel was just so committed and like one of the most hardworking people I'd met at NYU, and she also she just took the job really seriously, like without being pretentious about it. Like there's a lot of people who like take their jobs on student film sets too seriously, but she came in really, really ready to work, and she also was just doing so much and hustling so much, and it was almost intimidating. Like she was writing and acting in so many sketches that she produced on her own, and she was doing open mics every single night, and she was also meeting every filmmaker she could at school and being in their like lighting exercises just to try to like hustle and meet people, and that really impressed me. And she carried around her 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year goals with her, and so that kind of ambition also like really, I don't know, inspired me.
Very understandable. So now to touch on the transition from Shiva Baby to Bottoms, Emma, I'll throw my first question on that to you. So when someone makes a first feature, puts it out into the world, and it's very well received, that is wonderful, but it also brings on certain pressures and expectations. So what was it like navigating those expectations, but also making sure that your next project was going to be the one that felt right to you?
I think I feel really lucky in that we sidestepped a lot of that anxiety by starting to write Bottoms when I was writing Shiva Baby. So we always knew with Rachel and her goals, that, and my goals, I guess, but that was going to come next. Like there was no other plan. It was like, make Shiva Baby. Like our manifesting dream was like, it goes to a festival, it gets bought, it's an indie hit, and then we get to make our second movie with the studio. And it's kind of crazy that's how it happened, but I didn't have a moment of being like, I don't know, like, what should I do for my second movie? Like, I can't decide. So that part was clear. And then in terms of managing the pressure, I think what was also helpful was that it was a completely different movie. Like if I was making another dramedy, you know, like another family dramedy or coming of age movie, perhaps I would feel pressures to kind of make it a certain way, in a way that sort of Shiva was successful. But there were no pressures because no one knew what we were making, or not no one knew, but it felt like really uncharted territory.
I was following it all along, like reading about it in the news and everything, and still, I never in my life could have expected what it turned out to be when I finally saw it. And that's one of the best reactions to have to a movie. All right, Rachel, for you now, you've written before, we've already referenced it, but this is technically your first screenplay credit on a feature film, which is a very big deal and should be celebrated. What is something about writing a screenplay that came naturally to you? But then I also want to know a learning curve you experienced writing Bottoms that you think will help you in the future.
Ooh,
such good questions.
Such good questions. I tried to turn it off.
Deserve good questions.
Thank you.
All movies are feats and deserve good questions. I'll clarify.
But these are all like, I'm like, ooh, each one. I think what came naturally to me was going to coffee shops. I love going there. I love hanging out. Like, Emma and I would go to the same coffee shop every single day, and the woman there would every day call us by alternating names. I would walk in, she would be like, Emma, my love, like, and I'm like, I'll take it. So that was, no, I think the communal part of it, which was like getting to be with my friend, and like I always want to make my friends laugh, so that part I think felt natural, which was like I would just want to make Emma laugh. And like I think also it's like, it was like you were in school, like life could be a little depressing, like you want to just like laugh and have fun with your friend, so that part was natural. I think a learning curve was two things that I'm thinking of. One, like structure and plot, was Emma taught me all about that. There was one day I came in and she had like color coordinated. She goes, okay, so in every character arc has like a color, and this is like what happens in each scene to like make those things happen and move forward. And I was like, oh, I was thinking about the mascot's penis. Maybe we make it really big. That was my idea. So like I think she taught me so much about like how you have to care about structure, because then the jokes can sing and the fun of it can sing, but like that structure really helps. And then the other thing I think was like communicating when we like disagreed on something. There was like this first day, because like you get into the flow of it and it's really exciting, and then there was like the first day that we were like, this, maybe we should do this scene different. And it was so like scary for us to like even disagree at all, because we're women, so we were like, and maybe, I don't know, we could perhaps, I'm not sure. Like, it was really like scary. And then by the end, we were literally like, no, this, change that. Like, I think we got so comfortable, but that was like a learning curve too.
Ooh, I'm definitely following up on that, but I want to stick with the beginning for a moment longer. Can you two tell us what the core concept was that started this idea to begin with? But then I also want to know, did you have a break story moment? Something that came up along the way that convinced you that, like, we have a fully formed idea here that we're ready to move on?
Yeah, the original concept that I asked or told Rachel about was just like sex, teen comedy, lesbians, and fighting's involved, and or there's some sort of like hero story. And I was like, maybe they're superheroes, maybe there was a fight club, maybe there's an army element, like I don't know, but there's violence, and that was that was like where we started. And then in terms of a scene, are we thinking about the same thing? The end? Yeah. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So the big finale wasn't there until like a year before we shot.
We were writing it for 5 years.
We were writing it for 5 years. So it was like, and there was all these other endings. There's so many versions of the movie. There's like one where like all the guys were taking steroids that made them like say misogynistic, like something where it was like, and then the girls start taking steroids. There was a squirrel. There was like this. So there was all these crazy plots, but we were like, how do we end it? And like, we kept trying to figure out, we were like, we need something where the girls like prove that they did something to get, like they've been fighting the whole movie. And then we were like sitting at Allison, our producer's house, and like, I think it was like we started playing that song from Kill Bill. I started playing the song from Kill Bill, and
Rachel just had this moment because originally Josie saved Jeff from drinking pineapple juice, and that was it. And we were like, okay, so then this becomes just about saving the football player who we hate. And Rachel was like, no, this is what needs to happen. And she like pulled out her phone, played House of the Rising Sun, and then started, I mean, this is how Rachel writes. She just like does the characters. Like she just acts and like says the lines as each character. And you were like, this is what happens. And it's like, dun 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 dun. And you just started going in slow-mo. Like you just started like, and then they're fighting. And then they're this. And Rachel just kind of acted out. I mean, not the whole scene, but you were like, that's it. But it wasn't like we were all like trying to figure it out. You had this like genius like spark. No, like a light bulb moment. Yeah, that's my memory of it.
It was also like when you finally break something like that, you're like, yes! Like, I feel like we left and we felt so good, like being like, because then you can see. And now watching the movie, I'm like, it couldn't be any other way.
Yeah, but at that point, we'd already been working with Orion. Like they'd already bought the script, And I was like, well, we're adding a huge stunt sequence. And we already had an idea of what the budget would be too, so it kind of just like took sort of the scale of the movie and amplified it by a ton. And it worked in the end, but that stretched a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. So well worth swinging big in that respect. And now